GLAM, Los Angeles.
Hi, Kirby. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to Los Angeles.
In 2020, the beauty industry underwent a revolution of sorts. Black-owned brands became a much-needed, albeit long overdue, priority. Movements like Pull Up for Change encouraged brands to share what percentage of their business employed Black workers, and many brands whose focus was specifically on highlighting Black skin were launched, supported, and celebrated. However, in the last year, we have seen a wave of hurdles coming for Black-owned businesses and DEI initiatives. We're seeing it in other industries as well. Top chief diversity officers at entertainment companies were said to be leaving their jobs, quote unquote, last year in a Wall Street Journal story titled The Rise and Fall of the Chief Diversity Officer. It was recently reported that 13 Lune, a retailer that highlights minority-owned brands, owes thousands of dollars to brands under its umbrella, and their partner JC Penney was restructuring the partnership as a result. And the Fearless Fund, the Black women-owned venture capital firm backing early-stage businesses owned by women of color, including the beauty and wellness brands like Brown Girl Jane, Live Tinted, Bread Beauty Supply, and more, was indefinitely barred from deploying a program last year that doles out $20,000 of grants to Black female entrepreneurs. So what is happening and what can we do about it? Today we have We the People founder Karen Young, who recently shared a video suggesting your favorite Black-owned beauty brands may shut down this year if things don't change. Karen, we are so thrilled to have you on the podcast so that we can really dive into this topic. But before we get into the meat of it, we want to know what is on your face or on your body or on your hair.
Fantastic. Well, let's see. I keep it really light in the summertime, and at 46, I am actually still holding on tight to the jeans, so I don't have a lot on my face. I'm using Bare Minerals. They have like a serum mascara that I'm like allergic to almost all mascaras. They make my eyes break out. And this one does not, and it just gives me the most beautiful lashes, well defined. So I'm using that on the lashes. So that's like a new fave. I've got Danessa Myricks on the cheeks. Like there's a yummy sort of cheek and lip tint that they have that is just incredible. And also Danessa, like you meet Danessa and you're like, whatever it is you're selling, I will have, including like all of the love. Let's see, I've got a recent purchase, Dior on the lips. So there's like multiple Sephoras now sort of around my home, like literally 3 Sephora pinpoints. So I am in trouble. There is no direction that I can walk home without stopping and getting anything new. So yeah, there's like a really pretty like Dior matte sort of lip gloss on the lips. And honestly, that's it. Like I keep it really light in terms of the makeup for summertime. Now, I have recently started using, it's the French A313 something. It's a retinol. Yes.
Yes.
And
did you get it
I was
overseas?
super scared. No, I hope I got the right one because I got it on Amazon, but it looked pretty legit.
You're like, I hope it's legit.
I'm really hoping so. But yeah, so I started using that and I'm doing that like 3 times a week. And I just wanted to start dealing with like a little bit of texture that I saw popping up on my skin. You know, they say Black women don't crack, but we definitely do. And I'm trying to do all the things. And that's honestly it. Oh, and I've just recently come upon La Roche-Posay. Like I know I shouldn't be new to it, but I tend to go really high end with my skincare. So like my whole routine is normally biologique. And I saw this, they have like this beautiful cleansing cream thing. And I was just like, oh, this is actually really nice. So I'm testing that out. So I'm doing high-low.
I love that. So let's talk about this video that you shared that went viral, talking about the reality of being a Black-owned business and founder in 2024.
I've been struggling with this one for a minute because I feel like it's not my place to say, but it kind of is, and I feel like someone needs to say it out loud. Your favorite Black-owned brand may close this year or next. I am sitting watching my friends, people that I love and admire, just struggle this year. You know, teams are quietly being let go, and folks are really having a difficult time. We are experiencing what I would call a recession within a recession almost, and that is a recession of capital. That is a recession of the flood of support. And that is also a recession of, just visibility.
Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided you wanted to make that video? Like, what inspired you to record that?
Yeah, so, largely it's my own experience. As we've been on the fundraising path over the last year or so, there's a number of things that are happening, right? So we've got the larger like economic conversation, and then the conversation within that, which is why I stated in that video, it feels like we're having a recession within a recession, right? And so there's a larger economic picture, and then there's the clawback that it feels that is happening with Black-owned brands. And this is larger than just beauty, because I've spoken to a number of friends across different fields and categories who saw the lift and then saw the clawback as well. But I figured I would speak to beauty because it's where I spend every single solitary day. I just felt compelled to not sit within the to be quite honest, I tend to be really transparent. I felt compelled to not sit within the shame of what felt like some sort of failure, right? Like hitting these astronomical highs, all this visibility, all of this inbound to the brand, and then feeling like I must have done something wrong, that I didn't turn it into absolute magic. And I just really started having conversations with some of my fellow beauty founders, and they were like, no, everyone's actually seeing it and everyone's experiencing the same thing. And so, really, that video was just me being incredibly transparent, and really feeling the pain and the loneliness of being like, I know we have bigger things happening. It's an election year, but it also feels like no one's picking up the phone any longer, and no one is really interested in, um, you know, sort of continuing this conversation that was so loud and so bold, years before. And quite a number of us got our foot in the door, in multiple arenas, whether retail, venture capital, sales, whatever, in a way that we had not necessarily been able to before that conversation. And I'm happy to speak a little bit more, about what sort of was the difference for us. So, we set the brand up. I think prior to that, I was always, sort of quietly the founder of the brand. And I set the brand up to become known for its products and for the efficacy and for all the amazing things that, and we could contribute to the body category. And so I think we were somewhat prepared for the lift, that we saw from a retail perspective, definitely, because I always made this brand to belong, and stand next to some of the biggest and best brands on the shelves of retailers. I think what I needed was the venture inbound. And so as a result, that really came through as well, from 2020 into 2021. And it gives you it's a much needed foot in the door. It's a conversation that was very necessary to happen, and it's incredibly helpful for a brand that now takes on that next level of scale and needs to figure out how to fund it. So all of those things were really impacting me, and I was exhausted, and I was talking to my friends who were exhausted, and it really was not it really was not a just me, experience. And so I just felt compelled to put something out there.
And can you share some of the feedback that you got? Because obviously, like, I was scrolling through the comments, and like you said, you are not the only person feeling this, even though it feels like, a lonely place to be. Can you share like some of the comments that other founders and businesses shared with you?
It's a scary thing to say, right? And I think that's why these things always feel so vulnerable, because not only are you saying that as a, a founder and an entrepreneur, you're feeling some of those headwinds and you're saying it out in public, but you're also saying that I think some of this is occurring because there has been such a brash pullback from what we were experiencing years ago, and to just see the number of people who were experiencing the same thing. I mean, it wasn't just comments. I had friends text me and say, I'm actually quietly closing soon because of that. And I think, what really was resounding was that entrepreneurship is hard enough, but we're all sitting there with this shame of feeling like we've done something wrong or we're failing in some way. So yeah, I think that was probably the most resounding part of that for me.
Karen, when you started that video, one thing that you said that kind of struck me is I can't remember the exact phrasing, but you were like, I don't want to speak out of turn, or like, I don't know if
Yeah,
this is my place to say, but it is.
yeah,
Why do you remember what you said? Sorry that I'm
yeah.
completely probably misquoting you, but it
No,
struck
that's
me
okay.
because I was like, it doesn't feel out of turn for you at all. In my
Yeah.
opinion, like I'm glad that you brought this forth. So why did you feel that way?
Yeah, I think just speaking from the nuance of it, right? And every business goes through their experience of highs and lows. We're startups. None of this is easy by any stretch of the imagination. But I think there was a couple of things. One, that same sense of shame of like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be outing anyone else, but I'm definitely feeling this and I'm tired. I'm so tired of holding it in. And then there was also the fact that like we saw quite a bit of scale and positive response to the brand as a result of everything that happened, from 2020 into 2021. I think, what I give credit to our brands and what we sort of built was this really incredible organic presence that relied very much on the products that we had made, the reception to those products, the consumers that we had built over the years, the reviews for our products, being sort of one of the first in many ways with regards to how body care is being positioned and seen now. And we also have, in full transparency, we have raised capital over the years as well. Now, it took me 7 years to raise 5 million or close to 5 million. And so I kind of felt like, oh, I don't want to speak for everyone because I know that I'm in very, for lack of a better term, rarefied air, even haven't been able to raise that much. But at the end of the day, capital doesn't protect you from everything, and every business has to, go through the ebbs and flows. And I felt like there was an ebb happening within an ebb.
So then what do you think has changed over the course of, let's just say, the past 4 years? You've brought up 2020 a few times. What do you
Yeah,
think has happened? What are Black founders up against right now
yeah.
in 2024?
I look at some of the really awful initiatives, including what you've mentioned, pulling back DEI funding, pulling back those programs, and also even vilifying some of the programs like the one that Fearless Fund. Um, is sort of being scapegoated for right now, I think, for lack of a better term there. Um, and I think it's driving a lot of fear. I also think that it's driving something that I fundamentally believe is probably one of the more devastating conversations that's happening even as an undertone, and that is Black founders are not worthy of being funded. I think that overall, a lot of the positioning of many of these initiatives as a result have then been sort of spoken to almost from a charitable perspective. And I think if you come into anything from a charitable perspective, you're kind of going to automatically consider it a one and done, right? You're not looking to support and be a part of a business that's going to win in the long term. This is definitely more of a one and done kind of perspective. And it's honestly something that I've been struggling with, because I think that we can own the word support from a cultural perspective and from an overarching understanding of, um, this is a community that has been marginalized and has not had access to certain things the way other communities have. And then there's the support, as in, the one and done, like, let me just throw some visibility your way. Let me just throw some marketing your way. Let me just throw some dollars your way. And then you figure it out from there. But there's no way that like a one-time infusion of anything is actually going to help a business really grow over time and really retain people, strategies, marketing, all the things that are necessary to help a beauty brand um, really win and win at scale.
Okay, so let's talk about when you launched We the People in 2014 and you had $1,500 in your pocket. Tell us why you wanted to launch We the People. What about the beauty landscape at that time felt like this was like the right time for you to start your own business?
Technically, we ended up launching in 2017, but what I did was do a little experimenting prior to that to just make sure what I was building was going to land. And I had an audience besides my brother and my sister-in-law, two of our best customers, by the way. But yeah, I was actually working for a larger beauty company at the time, and what I saw was an opportunity to speak to body care. So my family is Guyanese. We are obsessed with all things body and body care. We show love in two ways: we feed you, or we look after your skin. And so just really growing up with that, I noticed that while I was working I spent 4 years at Estee Lauder as an executive there, and I saw so much happening in skin and makeup, everything. And there wasn't really a lot of conversation happening around body. And I wanted to start with shaving. And I, started experimenting with a single blade razor and having like a very early conversation. I reached out to some bloggers and, just really started building that up with the aim that we would eventually become a full-fledged body care brand, and that shaving was actually part of body care. It was not, not necessarily a separate thing. When I was shaving, I was like, the impact that I was having was not on my hair, it was on my skin. So shaving is body care. And so, I took a little bit of savings that I had, and I put that into the very first iteration and the very first experiment with the razor. And then we sort of consistently grew from there. Now, one thing I want to say about that is that $1,500 often sounds like miraculous, right? Like you took 1,500 and propelled it into a multi-million dollar company. I did not. It took $1,500 and I propelled it to the next level, which was essentially showing that I had an audience, showing that we had a rabid consumer who loved what we were making and was willing to spend on it and come back for more. And then I was able to use that and get to the next stage. And that next stage was 150,000 in a funding from WeWork through a grant for a pitch competition. And then I took that and I did exactly the same thing. And the next stage was to take take that to investors and say, okay, well, look what I was able to do with 150K in terms of customer growth, in terms of metrics, in terms of revenue and all of those things.
So when was that? What year was that when you were bringing it to investors?
2018 was the
2018.
first bit of,
Okay.
external, investor capital that we got.
And what was that experience like? Since let's say this is, obviously pre 2020, 2021.
Yeah, it was much the same as it is now. I think probably the biggest distinction between pre 20 and 2021 was that I went out prior to everything that happened social uprising wise. I went out and it just felt like a founder, right? Venture capital is hard. The numbers are in the single digit percentage for a reason. It is very hard to build a business that has the capacity to capture enough market share to scale in the way that would result in venture size returns. And obviously, we know the numbers for women and Black women are even more dismal than that. And so, but at the very least, I went out and it was kind of like, okay, I shot my shot, and it's not happening because of these particular reasons, and these particular reasons, reflected whether the investors understood the business, wanted to back it, felt they could be in it for the long run, and felt that we had an opportunity to really grow something big. Now, did some of those rejections have to do with the fact that I was a Black woman? Of course. But I think the difference is that later on, I got flooded with investors who felt the pressure to fulfill on, the fact that none of their portfolio companies were Black. More people were calling that out. And so a lot of the folks that I spoke to later on were truly wasting my time. They were running their own like one-on-one DEI initiatives to say that they actually did the outreach, and as a result ended up wasting my time.
Okay, so this might be a dumb question. There are no dumb questions, but this might be dumb then. Given everything that happened in 2020 and 2021, and now seeing some of the resulting issues that have come from it, do you think that that's something that if you could go back and be like, you know what, maybe we need to rethink this, like now that so many founders are seeing the aftermath of it, I have to imagine it's also probably not even a little bit, very traumatic to think, were they only investing in this company of mine because I'm a Black founder?
Right.
How do you feel now?
You have to take everything. I mean, the way that I see it is you have to take everything, at face value for what it is and figure out very deftly and very quickly how to move through it, and very intelligently how to move through it, how to see who's wasting your time, how to, seize an opportunity, and, how to just quickly maneuver to the right place and the right people. I think one thing that maybe Black founders have not said publicly or very often was that we were going through our own trauma in 2020, right? And then experiencing this crazy like windfall and a ton of attention at the same time. And that was a lot to process in and of itself. And then you kind of had to find your way through that and sit on the other side and see, okay, where exactly am I? No founder that I know, we identify as being Black founders because we are incredibly proud of our culture and we want to represent our culture. And in many ways, we're actually the first in our families and so on. And so you're just like, yes, cheers, I'm a Black founder, very excited about that. But overall, all we're asking for is the same visibility and the same opportunity as anyone else. And so many of the things that actually did bring a lot of visibility and attention to the brand was simply more people talking about it. We ended up as the most searched for Black-owned beauty brand in the country during that time, with I think over like 1100% increase in searches according to Google. Um, what an insane experience that was, to sort of be on the back end of that and trying to figure out how to maneuver it all. But here's the thing, it happened across it happened across social, it happened across press, it happened across editors, just, and when I look now, we're still back to that. In February, we're highlighting this Black owned beauty brand. The products that I make are for everybody. And if you're doing the work, we should consistently, if you're doing the work of researching, I should say, we should consistently show up and be, made available for more people to understand that I may be a Black founder, but I make the best damn body products for everybody who chooses to use them. And my work is to make sure that I continue to make the best products. And that I get out there and do the work to make sure everyone knows about them. But there's no way I should be, or any Black founder I know, unless their products are very, very specific, which most of them are not, there's no way we should be relegated to like once or twice a year, when we know that these much larger brands are showing up every day across the stratosphere, on all the different lists, and just being considered as a brand, a beauty brand. That's it.
Karen, so in another video, you shared about having to discontinue your body balm. What goes into making a decision like that, and how does that affect your retail partnerships?
That is truly a numbers based decision, right? I think I love to talk about the mistakes that I have made, and one of the things was we started as an indie D2C brand, and we were able to scale the brand up in addition to, by also like adding new products along the way. But it's a more experimental place to be in when you're a D2C brand. You could literally be like, here's a drop, here's this, here's that. You just move faster, you're much more nimble, and you can see how people react to things. And so I'm very much still driven by our consumer and seeing how they react to our products. And there's nothing like having a product, on shelves for a couple of years and literally seeing how people react to it over time. And so over time, what we saw was that our other body products, our hydrating body gloss and our overnight resurfacing serum, were just running circles around products. And I'm a big believer in kill your darlings. I try not to get too attached. As much as I love each and every single baby, I really try not to get too attached. I learned that a long time ago in fashion, because fashion was so seasonal. And so it's like, you love it, but you love it for the season. So you got to let it go. And I really just try to treat the brand in that way. And I think one of the mistakes that I made was we really had this opportunity operating as a D2C brand to be nimble, to try things really quickly. And then as we got into retail, I was forced to sit down and look at those numbers. And I just saw everything that we were doing. Our two primary products outside of the razor were just eclipsing those other products, and sat down and examined, okay, was it the formulation? Was it this? Like, what were we actually like not doing well there? And so we let go of two of our products, one being the body balm, and the second being a physical scrub, because the conversations over the last few years, everyone loves a good chemical exfoliant, and it's rare to find a good one for the body. And so we just really leaned into that. But I really like bringing people along on the journey, because I think that beauty brands and maybe just larger brands in general, they can be so closed off. Like, no one actually understand what goes into a product or a process. And this was truly driven by like line item, as we looked at the sales numbers over the last couple of years, it made more sense for us to focus on the products that are performing better. It also allows me, as a founder and one who is, experiencing limited capital, as we are in this like crucial point of scaling. Like, by the end of the year, we're going to be in 3x our retail doors. Like the pressure on the brand right now is insane. And so why have products that aren't performing when I could actually use our limited resources to back the ones that are in terms of future inventory buys and marketing.
I think we know the obvious answer to, supporting Black owned brands: buy the products. So everyone go to We the People's website right now, buy the razor, buy the hydrating body gloss, buy all of it. Outside of that, Karen, what else should people be doing to support Black owned businesses?
This truly, like, there's just some incredible people who want to share their brands to the world as well. So I say that to encapsulate the fact that what drove us to see, I think, more success maybe than some other Black owned beauty brands was the social capital. And I really just want to drive that home as well. Is that it's not just go spend money on our product, because listen, eggs are insanely expensive right now. Like it is it is insulting, the price of eggs and butter. Um, but there's also there's a lot to be said for the social economy in addition. So I think, it's not just the financial support, but helping to bring that brand more exposure as well. If you love it, talk about it, let people know, leave a like, leave a comment. It actually really does go far.
Does shopping in a retailer as opposed to like your .com make a difference at all in your opinion, or is it fine to just shop where you want to shop?
Shop where you want to shop. Here's the difference between the two. Obviously, your dollars goes directly to the brand to then put into their pockets and use for other things. And when you shop at a retailer, it really just helps solidify the retailer's choice in bringing that brand on, and it helps to grow within that retailer as well over time.
I need to try the hydrating gloss in cedarwood. It sounds
Yes.
delicious.
It is so sexy. It is like
Ooh.
low key, like you might not, like your partner might not let you get out of bed.
Oh, Kirby, we gotta
Yep.
get ourselves some of this.
Wait, Karen, you posted a video and you said you were thinking about holiday, and there was it like a
Yes.
mandarin fragrance? What was it?
So our orange blossom
Orange
has
blossom.
had such incredible response. We actually launched it in tandem with our Sephora launch in September of last year, and it was the first time that we had tried scent. And everything before, about the brand was like very strict, very clinical, like no scents or whatever. And these are all part of the learnings, right? So what I've learned is that people want both. Like they want the function, but they also want to smell really darn good. And so we're actually moving into I'm calling it new Americana, where as we look at like 2025 and beyond product roadmap, we're actually bringing like the feel, the efficacy, the sensorial experience, but like some of the scent back to body care as well, because I think people still love to smell really, really good. And it has such a huge impact when you're like putting something on your body. Not only does it feel good, not only does it work well, but for it to smell really incredible. So our orange blossom, which I developed in France after discovering it in Morocco, has become like a huge cornerstone for the brand and has risen to the top really as our hero product. And I'm going to do a test. I'm still trying to hold on to my indie roots here, but I'm going to do a test on a fragrance. And that fragrance is actually going to bring a little bit of Caribbean roots to the orange blossom scent. So we're gonna shake things up a little bit, and then we have some more fragrance products coming out from Q1 of 2025.
I was going to say, fragrance is so huge right now. It's having a moment. It would be crazy for you not to at least dabble in that category.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
for me, it goes hand in hand. Sarah and I talk about this all the time. Give us a fragrance. When we put something on our bodies, it is like, for me, and now that I'm getting older, a priority to moisture.
Yeah.
I have my lotion in the shower. And by the way, if y'all haven't tried We the People's gloss, the body gloss, absorbs so beautifully, gives your skin
Thank
this
you.
incredible sheen. Like, you just always keep looking at my collarbone when I put it because it just gives you that beautiful, like, we're like, ooh, okay, I want to show off my skin. But yeah, we want fragrance. We want to have that sensorial experience when we're putting on something that
Mm.
makes us feel good, can help make us feel happy, make us feel joyful, make us feel sexy, make us feel whatever. So really excited about that. We can't thank you enough for spending part of your day with us and answering all of our
Thank
questions and
you.
kind of sharing even more about what, you know, a lot of our friends in the beauty industry are going through. And again, we are so grateful to have had you, Karen. Where can everybody find you, and also We the People?
It's OUI, the people. So we is spelled OUI. So wethepeople.com is obviously our primary sales channel, but we are now in Sephora as well. So if you check on our website, you'll see the list of Sephora doors that we're in. We're also on Sephora.com. And just to like hit me up and say hi, you know, check me out at We the People TikTok and Instagram as well. I'm coming out of my shell, y'all. I'm actually like out here. I'm like taking my introverted ass outside.
Good. We love
You
to
can't
see
even
it.
tell from your online presence. You seem a very calm extrovert. So you're doing great.
Oh, good. Okay, good.